Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is The Bad News Bears, a sports film from 1976. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, it's available to stream on Amazon Prime, Pluto TV, Crackle, and to rent for $2.99. Go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
So welcome back to another episode of Screen Riot, where we're reviewing The Bad News Bears from 1976, which was Kyle's pick for the second episode. And this was sports film, right?
Yes, sports film. Yep.
Yeah. So what made you pick Bad News Bears?
It's actually been a long time since I've seen this movie, and I always remember it being a pretty good movie. And I kind of like baseball, so this is one of the reasons why I picked it. I really like Walter Matthau in this movie. It's just the typical Walter Matthau. He's like, I don't really give a crap, but hey, you know what? I'll do it for money. And, then he ends up turning around and actually giving a crap about what he's doing. So, and that's kind of like the typical Walter Matthau in all of those movies.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely has a turn of heart towards the end. Especially with the side story that I totally forgot about, the kid getting punched by his dad or slapped by his dad on the mound. I feel like that's kind of like the straw on the camel's back that kind of was like, wait a minute, I'm taking this way too seriously.
Yeah,
I don't want to be
game.
him.
Yeah, it's a little league game. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so we'll get into all that, but I've always enjoyed this movie too. It's definitely more baseball playing than like more drama kind of stuff going on, to fill in that. I think it's an hour 42.
Yeah, it's actually a very quick film.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel very long to me.
I had an opposite reaction to it. It felt really like the championship game in particular. I wish they had edited that more. That's a piece that I'm like, it just seems to go on and on and on. Like I almost felt like it was more than one game because of how long it goes on. You know what I mean? It just seems to go on a really long time. But other than that one piece of editing, I felt like it was pretty quick because they get to that part in just under, I think it's just under an hour. They get to the championship game, and then the championship game is the last like 30 minutes of the movie.
Wow.
I mean, it just lasts a really long time.
Well, I mean, that is the penultimate championship. That's what they're all trying to get to, right?
Well, and it's a baseball movie. It feels like a baseball game at that point. They just last forever. Like you get there and it's 700 years, first inning to 900th inning or however many innings there are in baseball. So I'm trying to offend John as much as I go here. It's okay.
Fine.
Here he
It's
comes
fine.
with this comeback. It's John. Let's hear it, John.
It's fine. There's no accounting for taste.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the movie, John? Any thoughts?
I like it. I like it. It's definitely a kind of a, if you're not prepared for some of the language in the film, it's going to slap you in the face.
So you're saying it hasn't aged well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the MPAA would rate this PG
Not anymore.
nowadays.
Oh, is it PG?
Yeah, it was rated PG.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen in today's world. But yeah, and folks do it. Some have issues with the vulgarity in it.
Right.
I honestly think that any parent thinking about sending their kids into some type of little league, or anyone thinking about coaching a little league team, should watch this film
Yeah.
to put themselves in check. To get them prepared for how kids are, how kids actually are whenever they're around other kids on a sports team, but then also to put themselves in check of, it is a game. It
Right.
is not a life and death situation here. This isn't war. This is
Yeah.
a game.
Well, it's kind of like that lady that's, I guess she manages the baseball fields.
The one who
yeah,
had
yeah.
the very short hair and
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
seem like she was interested
Cleveland?
in Walter Matthau very much.
Is that her name, Cleveland?
Right. Yeah. It was funny when they all went to Pizza Hut. before the tournament started, that she was like, "Oh, well, this is just a really fun place to hang out, meet everybody that's going to be in the team or in the league." We're basically just being nice to each other now, because when the league actually starts, we're not really that nice to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's actually real. I mean, I've been to a couple of little league or like softball or soccer or something like that, and yeah, there's some parents out there that just get really pissed off at their kids for not swinging at the ball. I'm like, come on, he's 5. Like, give him a break.
I coached.
Well, nowadays it's more of a don't hurt my baby.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, how dare you? That's my baby out there. Don't you call him on a technicality and not somebody else on a technicality. And it's more of a helicopter protection.
Yeah, I coached my kids for about 4 years in Little League Soccer, and like from the time my son was 3 until he was 7, my daughter was 3 until she was 5, and it gets pretty nuts. I mean, it gets a little crazy. I tried to not go. I never went off the deep end, especially with Little League Soccer, because it's not really soccer at that, like, especially 3 to 5, 3 to 6. It's barely soccer. It's herding cats with a ball involved.
That's
like,
exactly what I was
there's so little that's actually soccer at that point. But there were people who would get a little nuts every once in a while, and I had to remind them, like, why isn't he playing? Well, because he's taking a Capri Sun break. That's what's happening there.
He's staying hydrated.
I believe he shit his pants. I believe that's why he's taking a second out.
We found a butterfly.
Oh God, that used to be the funniest stuff. Is there would be like a kid on the team, on either team, who would just be like super focused and just like, I'm going to be a baller when I'm older, right? And they would be playing the game. And then somebody else, one game, it was actually my son who did this, would find like a flower on the field and would stop and look at the flower. And then like 2 or 3 other players would be like, oh, a flower. And then they would all go over.
It's like, what's this doing here? It's supposed to be grass.
They would lose their shit. I'm like, come on, guys, let's go play. But the flower.
Well, like all the kids on the Bad News Bears, it looks like they're all ranging from different ages. They're not all the same size, and they're just like, there's like a kid that's like 3 foot tall, and then there's a kid that's like 5'8".
I was gonna mention that.
Well, see, so here's what I think's happening there. I think that it's the age, because, like, for instance, when I went to middle school, and I think it was probably the same for you, Kyle, because we're both Giants. I was the tallest kid in my grade from 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade, and I think 8th grade is where people finally started catching up. But when I was in 6th grade, and I'm 5'10", right? And there's kids in that grade, I shit you not, who are under 4'6", I'd say. There were kids in that grade who were under 4'6". You're talking about a 1.5 foot difference. And I look like I was 17, 18 years old. And these kids are, I'm shaving at 11. I'm already able to shave. And these kids look like they haven't, they don't even know what the term shaving means yet. You know what I mean? Like, they're just smooth. They look like babies. I can see that being pretty drastic. So I think it depends on I think that in this regard, I think they're like 11, maybe 10, 11, 12 years old. And that, there's quite a bit of difference there. You're just hitting puberty. It all depends on how much you develop, etc.
Well, like that actor that played Tanner, the kind of like rambunctious one, the blonde, long-haired kid.
Yeah.
He looked like 5.
Yeah. He looked really young, yeah. But I used to have a friend of mine in middle school who, I'll just say his name. His name was Tim, and he was that way. Like, he was probably, 4 feet tall, 4'5", something like that. Like, super short kid. Now he's a normal size. He grew up. He became a normal size as a man, but as a little kid, he was very small for like most of middle school. I'd say 6th and 7th grade for sure. He was little. 8th grade, he finally got a couple of inches on him, but he didn't really hit any height until he was in high school.
Do you guys find it weird in this movie that it seems like everybody was blonde-haired, blue-eyed?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
there was a lot of blonde-haired kids in this movie,
except that one Jewish kid.
Yeah, the one black kid, the one Jewish kid, and the one kid who pointed out that there was a black kid and a Jewish kid on the team.
Right.
Yeah,
that would be Tanner, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing with this movie is, and going back to it didn't age well. You had the kid who Tanner using the terms that he used, which were a little out there.
Racial.
But then the way the whole movie's created as well, like they're going to Pizza Hut, right, to do this conversation. People still do that, but they don't get dressed up to go to Pizza Hut. Like they were dressed up to go there and like to have this meeting. It's fucking Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I just thought that was the opening day ceremony to dress up.
It
wasn't to go to eat pizza.
I mean, maybe, but they're having their opening day ceremony stuff at Pizza Hut.
Well, that's probably their main sponsor.
Maybe
because there's a bunch of sponsors for
for one team there was Pizza Hut.
Was there Pizza Hut?
Pizza Hut paid money to do that.
You're right. No,
that's probably how they funded the film.
I completely agree because Denny's was in there. I mean, there was quite a few companies that were in there. I mean, Chico's bail bonds.
Chico's bail bonds.
They probably went to all these companies and said, "Hey, you can utilize our slave labor of our kids.
Yep.
We'll slap your logo on the back of their backs, and we're making a Little League movie."
I love the Chico's bail bonds slogan. Did you see that?
It was something about freedom.
Let freedom ring.
Let freedom ring. It was a Liberty Bell. That's right. Yeah.
I just loved it because it's bail bonds and you're paying for freedom.
Yeah. No.
But a lot like the reason why they went to Pizza Hut is I think a lot of little leagues do that. They go to like a pizza place just because it is cheap. Like you get a large pizza or something like that, and you could feed a lot more.
I think it depends on the spot.
Kids.
Like, we never met. We met at a sports complex. So I mean, like I've never been to a meeting for any of the sports my kids have ever done. I've never been to a meeting at a rrestaurant. It's always been at like the sports complex. And
well, this was 70s, so
you're right, and that's what I was saying.
Things have changed.
It's possible that it was just a different time.
When I played Little League, that's what we did. After a game, you went for Coke and a hot dog, like he said in the movie, or pizza or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's easy.
Yes. You didn't have a beer after the championship game with your coach?
That was super weird too. In this,
I loved it.
Like on all the adults holding their child and the kids throwing the beer around, and they're all like, "Woo,
okay.
underage drinking."
It shows how much freedoms we had back then.
Yeah, freedoms. That's what we're gonna call it.
Come on, it's like you have a coach that everybody knows that he's a drunk, and you're still allowing this guy to coach, children.
Boy, anytime he's at the field, he's walking around talking to the umps and talking to the other coach with a Coors in his hand.
Yeah. Coors, Budweiser, Miller,
now
Schlitz.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there.
So I will say this. That's actually okay. So this is where the movie, for me, I don't enjoy it for that reason. It's the Breaking Bad effect for me, right? Where Breaking Bad, I didn't enjoy the TV show because I just couldn't relate to any of the characters. I didn't have anything. I had nothing emotionally attaching me to the characters because they're all despicable people, right? Mm-hmm. Walter Matthau for me, and don't get me wrong, the other coach ends up showing in a lot of ways he's as big of a dick. Right. But Walter Matthau to me is he's an ass the entire time, to the point where I'm like, I can't. I mean, towards the end, you're right. He at least realizes, wait a minute, it's a game, let me not be nuts, etc. But then he passes out alcohol to all the kids, and I'm like, okay, not much of a character arc. Like, Jesus Christ, like he's still gonna make horrible decisions, like he's still gonna be a bad guy.
He's still growing.
You're right. I compare this movie a lot, and when I say compare, I look at the Mighty Ducks, right? Yeah. The Mighty Ducks completely rips off this story. It's a complete rip off of the plot, right?
Yeah.
But the difference is that with Gordon Bombay from the Mighty Ducks, the character arc is much more pronounced. Like, he goes from being a dickhead lawyer doing a DUI to becoming, I mean, he basically leaves being a lawyer and only cares about the kids and decides he's going to go back and be a minor league hockey guy at the end, right? It's a more complete character. He's more of a dynamic character. Walter Matthau is very static in this movie, and the one piece he has is that he realizes it's a game. That's about it. Other than that, he's I don't know. He seems like a liar to me too. I can't tell if the stories he's telling are true or not. I don't know if any of you guys picked up on that or not. Are they true stories, like the Hank Williams story and all that shit that he tells?
We have to assume they're true.
Yeah, I think they're true.
Okay, because I never got anything from. I'm like, I can't tell if he's just shining these kids on or what.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen any evidence that he is a liar.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. It feels that way because he's a drunk and because he's doing things like riding down the road with alcohol open and the entire team in his convertible.
Well, anyone who's been drunk like myself, you speak the truth when you're drunk.
Very true. Very true.
That's a good point, I guess.
Wise men have never been drunker.
Yeah, but no, I mean that's a
Gandhi.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It bothers me. That's the only thing. That bothers me. It's hard for me to like the movie because he's so unrelatable to me.
Yeah, I mean,
even
in the very beginning, like when the season was just first starting and they lost that game, or they forfeited, you know, and
What was the score, by the way? It was ridiculous.
It was like
It was 26 to
26
nothing.
to 0.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
it was massive. Yeah, I would
top
forfeit,
of the
I would
first.
forfeit too.
Well, that's where we have something called the mercy rule now. You know
Yeah,
what
that's what I was
mean?
about to say. Isn't that in effect now in Little
It
League?
is now
Yeah.
because of probably
this
the
movie.
Bad News Bear effect. Where you're like,
Tender flowers.
What is the mercy rule? Is it?
depends on the sport.
Oh,
Like in high school athletics, a lot of like high school soccer, I know, is 8 goals. So if they're up by 8 goals, then at the half, because you're going to play a first half in soccer no matter what. So
Right.
you play the first half, and if you're up by 8, then the game is called at the half. If you go up by 8 in the second quarter, most of the time the refs, it depends on what's happening in the game, but most of the time the refs will call it at that point. So as long as it's in the second half, I should say.
Well, it's
second
like
quarter, but
after the forfeit happened, you know, Ahmed Raheem went like he just stripped his uniform and
Yeah,
like
very
ran
strange
up
scene, yeah.
ran up
Yeah.
a tree. Which it's like you don't want to wear it just because you're embarrassed. You don't really think that he deserves wearing this jersey. I totally get it. And he runs up the tree, and then Walter Matthau climbs up the tree with him. And I think that's when you start to realize that Walter Matthau actually understands that there are potential in certain kids on this team.
Yes.
It's like, I don't want this one particular game to like ruin your whole life on baseball.
Yeah.
It's like, you have talent and I see that in you. So, let's work on that.
yeah.
that is a good scene.
I like that
between
scene
him and
a lot.
Ahmed. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the beginning of his character arc. I
Right.
think that's the beginning of where you're like, okay, there might be a tiny dot of humanity in this dude.
But then
you know what I
later,
mean?
he starts training them as they clean his pools, and
falls right back. Yeah,
it
and
falls
the light-
right back into it.
and the light has dimmed.
Yes,
Yes,
and then they go onto the field, and he's like trying to throw a pitch with I don't know how many beers drank, probably 8 or 9, almost a 12-pack, on the pitcher's mound, and he just straight up passes out.
And they're
That was
like,
hilarious.
he's dead.
Yeah.
No, he's drunk.
He's drunk.
Let's
Yeah.
go home.
Well, that's the one thing I appreciate. Like you're saying, okay. So to critique the parents for a second, everybody in this movie realizes that he probably shouldn't be coaching. The kids definitely realize it,
Right.
right? The parents should realize it, and if they don't, I question their parenting skills. I'm
Well, you
sorry,
notice
but I'm like, what?
you never see parents at practice.
You're right.
So it's
There's
like
only one.
it's like this neighborhood thing.
Yeah.
So they just the parents are working.
Yeah.
The parents are doing whatever.
Even
I mean,
at
it was
this
a
game.
different time.
Yeah.
It was a
it
different
the-
time
it-
back
It
then.
was the same thing in the Mighty Ducks. That team didn't have their parents other than
Right.
Charlie's mom, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you kind of assumed that with that group in particular, they were more rough and tumble in a lot of ways, to where you're like, okay, well, their parents just don't give a shit. These kids, like you're saying, they're basically from an affluent neighborhood. It appears that
Yeah.
you never see their houses, so you don't know what they live
No,
in.
those kids you don't. My impression
Mm-hmm.
of those kids were that they were not from the good part of town.
Right.
Okay.
Because in order for them to play in this league,
a lawsuit had to happen.
a lawsuit had to happen to get these kids to be able to play in this league, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that was my take from it, was that they're from a different part of town that nobody wants to associate with in the good part of town.
Yeah, and I agree.
Right.
I think that assumption is intended. I don't know.
Yeah, the Bad News Bears team was a true like melting pot of a team. Like they had basically everybody from all sorts of nationalities. They had like two Mexican kids that just like moved into the neighborhood, but they needed like 2 extra players to meet the roster, and they're like, "Oh, well, they don't speak English."
Yeah.
I think Walter Matthau's face is like,
And see-
okay, well, we'll see what we do here.
Stuff like that though too is where I say it doesn't age well. Like if you were to do that
But-
today, if you were to be like, "Oh, they don't speak English," well, let me hold the camera shot for 15 seconds as this guy goes, "Well, what the fuck do you mean they don't speak English?" Like,
This is
okay,
America.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
America, damn it! Hand me another Coors
Yeah.
Light. Like,
Give me a
Jesus
Budweiser.
Christ, you can't do that now.
King of beers.
Yeah, he was drinking Bud in that scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the brands go all over the
dude,
place.
I
It's
don't
probably
know.
just whatever's on sale that week.
Well, there's a probably. Well, there's one scene where the continuity just goes nuts. He's got, I think, a Coors in his hand, and then the scene cuts away, and he cuts back, and it cuts back, and then he's got a different
Well,
a
Oh,
different
really?
brand.
Yeah, he had
it's
a-
cutting back and forth.
Maybe he just downed it so quickly he opened up another one.
maybe.
That's-
What I like is
that's
that he
what I'm thinking.
pours out a little bit of every can and then adds hard liquor.
Yeah,
to
add some
the...
whiskey
Oh,
to it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I've never done that.
I don't know. I'm drinking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The whole I can't
I don't
relate
even-
to this guy.
I don't even think that would taste good.
Probably
I've-
not. It doesn't matter at that point.
Oh,
I've structured my whole life in terms of being the opposite of what Walter Matthau represents in this movie.
You got to do something to make Budweiser taste good.
That's true. You gotta
Jesus
pack
Christ.
it a little bit. I mean, he wasn't a true alcoholic. You see how much whiskey he wasted?
yeah. It's like pouring all over the can.
Oh, I was thinking he was already drunk. So
Oh,
that's
maybe.
why he was going everywhere.
Maybe
So he's not a functioning alcoholic.
that's it. He
Barely.
wasn't functioning.
He's barely functioning.
So you were talking about him being able to see the potential in some of his players. The strangest relationship that he's got is with this ex-wife or ex-girlfriend's daughter that he apparently taught how to pitch.
Yeah.
And now he's going back into. That's a very weird relationship they've got going there. Like if some guy wanted to hang out with my daughter, like if my wife and I got divorced, let's say,
Yeah.
and then she dated somebody else, and then that guy just wants to hang out with just my daughter and like drive her play. What the hell is going on? And then when she gets kicked in the chest and she's like, I ain't got much up there, but it still hurt. And he's like, oh, yeah. That's fucking weird. Like, it's just a weird.
It is a weird
strange
dynamic in the movie.
Yeah,
Well, and I
ugh.
think in a movie nowadays,
Yeah.
there would have been an extra scene in there where the mom is in it.
I don't like you,
And
Walter.
she's like,
but-
I don't like
yeah.
you, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's good for her, and this or the other. And the kid's begging to play on the team and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you're right. He
You
would have
know?
met with both of them at the same time
Yes.
to bring up the idea.
Yeah.
In a movie today.
And I mean, well, and an 11-year-old is not going to be sitting on the side of the road
Yeah.
selling celebrity maps to random strangers either.
It depends on the
You know.
11. She might be strangely entrepreneurial.
Well,
Who
she's
knows?
industrious,
Okay, yeah.
obviously,
I mean,
but but yeah, I don't think today that's going to happen.
Well, you know what's interesting? The guy who wrote this movie, Bill Lancaster, who is the son of famed actor Burt Lancaster,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
He actually wrote this movie based off his own experience with his father.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
So he said that Walter Matthau is
His dad.
his dad, and
Jesus.
he is more like Amanda
Wow.
in the movie.
That's strange. So there's got to be a metaphor in there somewhere where Bill Lancaster actually is transgender and this is his way of coming out. And that's the hot take on Bad News Bears. No.
No.
Don't forget to sign up for patreon.com/Screen Riot if you'd like to hear some more hot takes on movies.
Heck yeah.
But what's funny
I
is
agree with that.
Burt Lancaster later played in Field of Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So another baseball related movie.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Well, the daughter, the father-daughter type thing.
Yes.
I come to think of it, I don't remember seeing her mom, Amanda's mom, come to the stadium or
You
anything.
never see her.
Never see her in the film.
Most
know-
of the kids don't have parents in this movie. Most of them don't. The stadium's built for 12 people. And
Yeah.
There's 100 kids out there. Like,
But
there's
there was
nobody out there.
there was a few parents, especially was it Lupus's parents?
His we do see Lupus's father at the end pick him up.
Yes. Yeah, and he was actually in the stands too.
Was
yeah,
it
the guy with
okay?
the mustache,
Yeah.
right?
No.
No,
Oh, wasn't the guy with the mustache?
no.
Oh,
That was
Eingardner or whatever. I can't
wasn't
remember
that
guy's
Tanner's
name.
dad?
I don't know.
I forgot whose dad that was.
Well, because we don't see him.
Yeah,
we
we
only
don't
see
see
him
him
together
enough,
one
yeah.
time.
Well,
That's-
yeah, you only see him one time, and that's when he first writes him a check.
Yes.
Oh, it wasn't
to
Tanner.
coach.
It was the other one. The other one that looks very similar to Tanner. The good one. The good Tanner.
Lupus?
No, it wasn't Lupus. It was
yeah.
the one that that told Walter Matthau that Ahmed is in the tree.
Was it Alfred Luter?
I don't know.
Don't know. There's too many. There's too many.
Huh.
There's too many kids that look alike.
Well, they
like
don't-
You were
yeah,
saying, right?
They don't build any. There's no characters actually built. You've got 3 names, right? You've got the fat kid whose name I can't
Oh,
pronounce.
that's
It's like
that kid's hilarious.
Baumgartner or Eingardner or something. What's his actual name? He says it. Walter Matthau says his name 600 times in the movie, but he says it so much that I can't remember it. That's the way it
Is
works.
it Engelberg?
Engelbert.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
that
Engelbert
one.
Humperdinck. Then you've got Tanner. You've got Lupus, and you've got
Amanda.
Oh, shit.
Ahmed.
Amanda, and then Ahmed, and then
Oh,
Jackie Earl Haley's character, the
Kelly Leak.
Kelly Leak.
Kelly. Yes, Kelly,
Yeah.
the guy with the girl name, who I thought was a girl, by the way, at the very
I
beginning.
did too at the beginning.
Yeah, because he's wearing a choker, and I'm like, ooh, that's that's stylish.
He's riding around on a Harley.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like-
a little Harley Davidson
Like,
Sprint.
what? How old are you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a cool ass bike, but
I think he's like 14, maybe.
He looks younger than that to me.
I think he's like 11 or 12. I think he's 12. He's just a badass. Like
Hitting
he's
on the aerobics instructor.
Oh, that was
was
hilarious.
hilarious.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, what are you doing later?"
But I mean, I had a dirt bike when I was around that age.
I drive a Harley.
I had a mini bike. I didn't have a dirt bike, but I had a mini bike at that age. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jackie Earle Haley to me is he's a really good actor. I like him in a lot of different stuff. This is this is just his roots to me. Like that's what I get from Bad News Bears. Walter Matthau is a good actor. He's a very good actor. I'm not saying anything against Walter Matthau. This character is a piece of shit. That's very hard for me to handle.
Well, in Grumpy Old Men, he's
a shithead
he's
in
kind
that
of
too. Yeah.
but then he always kind of turns around. He always brings out his worst face first.
Yes.
In movies.
Which is easy for Walter Matthau.
Yeah.
He's a goddamn...
I'm just angry all the time.
Well, he's a bulldog. He looks like a bull. He looks like an old bulldog. That's what he looks like.
He was the same in Dennis the Menace.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
That movie was fun. I like that movie.
So do I. I think it's a great movie. But I wish that this movie had a better... The character development in this movie is very minimal. That's why I don't think we can remember the kids' names. I can remember more kids from the Mighty Ducks than I can this movie. And the kids in the Mighty Ducks aren't on screen as much as this movie. That's crazy.
Right, but you probably watched the Mighty Ducks a lot more.
That's what I was about to say.
Considering it was whenever came out when we were kids.
I've watched the Mighty Ducks quite a bit, but I've watched Bad News Bears quite a bit. I've seen this movie 20 times. I've seen this movie a ton. Like, this is definitely not something that was like a one-time watch. It just isn't... I don't know. It's more forgettable. And like I said, the fact that they spend 30 minutes on the baseball game, I don't think helps them.
Yeah, you don't like baseball.
Well, not just that. I think it's too much on the...
That's it.
I think you get wrapped up in the game, not the characters. And we're not watching a game. We're watching characters. You know what I mean? It's like...
Well, I mean, the ending of a major league is the same. It is the same way. I mean, the last 20, 30 minutes of the film is the pennant game.
Yeah, and that's what this whole movie's about, is to get a team that's, trying to win a pennant.
Yeah, I don't think we watch inning by inning, though, the last game of Major League, though.
Well, we don't watch inning by inning of Bad News Bears either.
There was like 5 innings that actually went by.
Yeah.
And it was like maybe the last inning that was
The
actually
full
drawn
inning.
out.
And we see a lot of characteristics, for lack of a better term, come out. Like, him telling, I can't think of the name, but the Jewish... point taken.
You were saying?
I was saying, I can only relate to them by their nationality.
Jesus. That's...
It's like Tanner.
The Jewish kid.
Oh, my God.
Well, when he tells him to lean into the pitch.
Yes.
Right? We
Right.
see a slight, short, truncated, expressed character arc with him.
Yeah, I would just argue that Kelly and Amanda have the biggest character development as far as players go. All the rest of them are supporting characters, even though the rest of them have more screen time than those two kids do. It's just strange. It's just it was a weird bit of writing, is all I'm saying. It's just strangely written in that regard. But I do think a lot of the actors, though, I think they did a good job playing kids. You know what I mean? I like Jackie Earle Haley. Even as a kid, I like him as an actor. I think he does a good job of, in this case, being a shithead with his ego and all that kind of stuff. I thought he was bigger than his peers, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was definitely more physically ready for like that type of baseball game than any other teammate on there, except for Amanda. She's just a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
But yeah, those two were the team for the
yeah.
most part.
Yeah, Walter Matthau telling him to basically to do everything on the field. I was like, oof, that's never good.
No.
It's not good coaching at that point.
They're gonna find out, and things are gonna collapse, and it's not gonna be good.
Yeah. Well, I always had a goal as a coach. I always had a goal every season to just see improvement from every kid. Like whatever that looked like, to see improvement from every kid. And you can't get there by letting one kid who's a star, who's got skills, who comes on, letting them dominate. You can't get there.
Well, yeah, and the parents don't even like to see that either, because it's like they like to see their kids out there playing. They paid their time and dues or whatever it is.
True.
To have their kid out there, even if they suck.
Yeah, well, and on the reverse of that, you've got the parents whose kid who's the kid is the awesome kid on the team.
Right.
It's like, why are you putting him on the bench? Well,
Yeah.
because the other kids have to be able to play too.
And that came up too, and he's like, "Why did you put Lupus in there?" It's
Yeah.
like, well, because he hasn't played.
Yeah.
Well, this is the worst time to do it. And it's like, well, I want everybody to have a shot.
And that was after... Wasn't that after the Yankees coach slapped his kid?
Yes.
Like, wasn't that like the start of him
Yeah.
kind of being like, I'm taking this too seriously?
Yeah, once the kid got slapped on the pitcher's mound, I think that's what like knocked all the alcohol out of Walter Matthau. He's like, shit,
I mean, the filmmaking of
I'm
that,
just like this guy.
the filmmaking of that scene is really good to me.
I agree.
Like,
that's the best
it
scene in the
hits
movie, in my
hard.
opinion. In
Yeah.
my opinion, that's the best scene of the movie.
Me too.
Yeah, because I think you see the most personality. I think you see the most emotion in that
Yes.
one part where you're like, oh wait, this is a serious movie, like about real things. Because almost all the rest of the time, it's just a baseball movie filled with a drunk. I hate to say it any other way, John, but it's like he's because I mean I can handle just a baseball movie. I really can. Like if it's just a sports movie, like that movie with Mark Wahlberg where it's a football movie.
The forgettable one, yeah.
The Invincible. That's what. No, it's not Invincible, is it?
Yeah.
Shit. Is it Invincible?
Yeah.
I thought Invincible was no, that's Invictus. Never mind. So Invincible.
yeah. With
It's just a football movie about this football player from the
Papali.
70s. Yes.
Vince Papali.
Who cares? I don't care that much. But with this movie, it's a baseball movie with Walter Matthau as a drunk up until that scene, and you're like, oh, there's actually a message here. Don't be a shithead who takes kids' sports too seriously. Am I the only one, by the way, who thought when the kid got slapped that the mom was really attractive? Like suddenly, like out of nowhere, I was like, wait,
Like you're ready to swoop in.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
Those 70 high-waisted jeans.
No,
and
the high-waisted
and
jeans, not
and
so much. The
the
crop
crop
top.
top.
The
Yeah,
crop
that's what I was
top,
saying.
yeah.
It's like the high-waisted jeans and the crop top. That's like, oh, okay.
But she was not pretty the whole movie, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait, is she pretty? She's pretty. When did that happen?
I don't even remember seeing her before that scene.
Same.
She was in it quite a few times. She was at Pizza Hut and everything, but I just did not click with me that I was like, oh, she's actually attractive. Interesting.
They do a quick cut to her in the stands when their son goes to the bat for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The father, the coach, and her make eye contact, and she's like clapping all happy and all.
Gotcha.
But that's
again,
like one of the first I remember of her.
And she's
think
wearing
what-
like a
Yeah.
Victorian dress or something. It just wasn't attractive. I was like, well, she's like every other 70s woman. Not that attractive, but here we go. Yeah.
Well, I think what made the scene that much more emotional is the silence.
That's
Yes.
what I was about to say.
Well,
Everything
the whole stadium
was silent.
stopped. Yeah.
And even like there's no music. It's just acting. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's just the kid walking off the field, dropping the ball in front of the coach or his dad, and then just walking off. It's like, damn, like literally mic drop.
Well, what I liked
That's-
about that was after he screws up the next play.
Yeah.
He
But-
lets Baumgartner,
He stands up to his dad.
Eingardner or whatever the kid's name, the chubby kid, makes a home inside the field home run, right? Is that what it's called?
ground,
Yeah.
Well, I'll allow it.
Well, what do you call it? Whatever it's inside the the stadium.
ground roll double,
No, it's
Or is
inside field home run.
inside field.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He makes
Infield
a
home run.
infield
Oh,
home run.
that's
There we
it,
go.
yeah.
Because the pitcher picks up the ball and just is holding it and just playing with it, and then his dad's
Yeah.
like, "What are you doing?" Loses his mind, and then the kid goes over, drops the ball in front of the dad, and is like, silently, "Fuck you."
Yeah, and that's where the whole stadium was super silent. Now the hitting scene, everybody's just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah,
But
they
there's
were-
like
they were
a lot of
frozen, yeah.
there's a lot of ambiance of the crowd and all, cheering
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything, and then when that happens, it just cuts.
Just
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
It was good. It was like they finally decided to like I said, like make a point. They were going to do something. Because don't get me wrong, I do agree. Like the heart to heart in the tree with Ahmed.
Yeah.
I think that was a good scene. The scene that he has with Amanda that they're talking about some shit. Those were a couple of good scenes with her. But that was probably the one that I was like, okay, this is probably the best filmmaking in the movie.
Yeah,
in
and
a weird
I
way.
agree.
Yeah.
I really like the long camera shot too that they did when he goes to drop the ball at his
Yes.
father's footsteps. It's almost like you're an observer, like
Yeah,
you're
you're in
an
the stand.
outsider. Yeah,
They shot it from the
watching
stands, yeah.
watching this weird thing take place.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have shot it completely different. Think about how the tone would have changed if they would have done like close-ups and of the two and the ball dropping close up and all all that stuff. But they kept it on there.
Yeah, and what I liked about that, like because those are two different parts to me. There's the slapping scene, but then there's also the walkout scene. What I liked about the walkout scene was that it didn't focus on Walter Matthau. I do think that that's a double-edged sword. I think that can sometimes take you out of, well, he's the main character of the movie, but I do like that they focused on the boy and the dad and the the fuck you with the dropping the ball and all that kind of stuff. I like that they focus on that and sort of just let Walter Matthau watch it with the rest of us.
Well,
You know
they
what I
cut.
mean?
If I'm not mistaken, they cut to Matthau a couple times to see his reaction about it.
During the slap, yes, but I don't think
Oh,
on
they
the
don't do it
walkout, because I
during
think
the-
on the walkout it's one long.
It's
you
just-
actually
yeah,
watch
just
him
the-
walk from the mound.
Right, but I
Yeah.
think before that shot,
You see him.
You see
yeah.
him, yeah.
You see him right before.
So
then you see him
you-
walk from the mound, drop the ball, and then they cut.
you
back to him
assume that you're
afterwards.
looking at it from Matthau's point of view. Is what I'm getting at.
It's possible. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because the only people that you really see during that scene is the kid, the father, and the mother. It's like
Right.
it was
Yeah.
like everybody else was just excluded.
Yeah, which is good.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely my favorite scene of the movie.
Especially the mother. So, just saying.
Interesting. Oh, I just read this. It says one of the actresses who tried out for the role as Amanda was Sarah Jessica Parker.
I could see that. Yeah, she was a pretty prolific child actress. I
Yeah.
should say. So I could see that.
Probably too expensive.
Her parents pimped her out early, so.
Well, speaking of actors and actresses, like Walter Matthau was the third choice.
Really?
To play Boilermaker.
Boilermaker, Buttermaker. Yeah,
Buttermaker.
he had
Which-
like multiple nicknames.
Buttermilk.
Which two drunks did they look at first?
Steve McQueen
Oh God,
What?
That would have been
was
a
the
weird
first
movie.
choice.
That would have been
Nah.
a very
Yeah.
strange movie.
Yeah, and then the second choice was Warren Beatty,
Oh God,
which would have been even weirder.
yeah.
I think.
Warren Beatty. Okay, the problem I have with Warren Beatty in general is that he's like Richard Gere, right?
Yeah,
He has such a elitist, waspish, I come from money face that when they try to dress him down in any way, it just
It doesn't
comes across-
work.
It's
Yeah.
it's inauthentic.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Johnny Depp's kind of the same way. Johnny Depp, when they try to dress Johnny Depp down, I'm like, it's just not going to work. He's too pretty. Like, he's supposed to be tough. It's Johnny Depp. You realize this, right? He's basically a female. In fact, by all new accounts, he is a female. So what's the issue?
Yeah, I don't see anybody else in that role just off the top of my head other than Walter Matthau, because he has that aged, downtrodden, I've lived a hard life look to him that really sells the washed out minor league ball player that cleans pools and drinks beer all day.
I
Yeah.
could have seen Robert Duvall playing him. Robert Duvall would have been okay as him.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I think Peter Finch from he was in Network in 1976. Peter Finch, he played Howard Beale in that movie. I think he would have been a pretty good Buttermaker, because I mean they both have a similar face, like kind of wrinkled and shitty. Robert Duvall obviously didn't look that way in the 70s though,
Right.
but I think he could have pulled it off. Walter Matthau, I do think was the better pick though.
How about
No,
Gene Hackman?
Gene Hackman would have been good. I mean, he was good in Hoosiers.
That's what I was
Again,
about to say,
damn
Hoosiers.
near the same movie.
Same movie.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say to get back to the hitting of the scene on the pitcher's mound, there was kind of a scene with Boilermaker or Buttermaker and Amanda when he threw the beer at her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That was a very
That was
interesting,
intense.
very emotional scene, because I think the alcohol got the best of him and the game got the best of him. Like she was icing her elbow, and she was just like, talking about future plans, and this is when we actually realized that it's not her dad. It's just like her mom and him dated for a little bit, but she kind of wanted him back in her life.
Right.
But he was just wanting nothing of it because he was just so focused on the game and like her elbow and stuff like that. And he ended up throwing the beer at her, and it was like, damn, that's rough.
Yeah, like I said, he's a dick.
I think he started out using her
Yes.
as a tool to win this tournament, and he's starting to also have the same thoughts as her, going, I would like to be in this kid's life again, but I'm no good.
Yeah.
I'm not good for her, because the whole reason she's here is because I'm an ass and I'm using her, and
Yeah.
he's more mad at himself. He's not mad at her. He's more mad at himself. His inner demons are getting the best of him through the whole situation.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
I'm wondering too, is like that happened before the whole throwing of the beer in her face. That happened before the pitcher's mound, like the championship game.
Yes.
And so I think when he actually saw that, he's like, "Crap, I did that."
Well, he's connecting. Yeah, he's connecting the dots. And see, here's the thing, John. What you're saying, and you've done this a couple times with this movie so far, where you're putting in pieces that the filmmakers didn't show, and I don't disagree with you. I think that is what they were intending. I just wish they had shown more of that. I wish we had take an extra 30 seconds and show Walter Matthau after the yelling thing, going outside, or going to his car or something, and just sitting in his car and grabbing his steering wheel and like looking forlorn or something. that would kind of cement home more
Well, no,
of that.
they-
Well, I
did.
got that off the look of his face.
They did do
Yeah.
that because he was sitting down. He had tears in his eyes, and he
Yeah.
he drank a beer. He was just like, crap, I may have ruined something here.
I know. I just wish there would.
And she
He was
walked away
he was
crying. Yeah.
I just wish
I was
that-
crying. Yeah.
I was crying. You were crying. We all were crying.
I spilt my beer.
I just wish that they had
Now
cemented
Justin's
that
crying.
a little more. I wanted a little less championship game and a little more of that. Is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because I do think they had the components to make a really, really, really good movie, and I think they made an okay sports film. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call this my most favorite sports film.
Curious, what is?
I can't name it off the top of my head.
I'm just curious. I was just curious if you. I mean, you never know.
Should have
right?
said The Color of Money.
Ah, yeah.
No.
Yeah, barely a sports film. Let's be honest. Billiards. It's the live action video gamers calling themselves. But we're sportsmen now. We're in the Olympics. No, you're still
No.
playing with your joystick, if you know what I mean.
Womp womp.
And loving it. Okay. So there was a reference that I didn't get when Buttermaker and Amanda were talking in the car, and she was talking about, I want you to buy me the expensive jeans and all this stuff, right? He says, who are you now? Catfish Hunter.
Yes.
And I was like, I had to look it up. So apparently Catfish Hunter was a baseball player at the time. And the reason they make that reference is because he just signed a deal to be the highest paid baseball player of all time at that point.
Oh, back in the
In
mid
76
70s
or 75 or something.
So it's like what,
Interesting.
$500 a year?
Oh,
or
I
something?
don't know how much it was. but,
It's the great sport of baseball. That's right. Okay.
yeah. I just thought it was kind of interesting because, the movie doesn't age well, like you said, because it has
not-
some dated reference.
Yeah, I'm not even going towards you. That was towards John. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what baseball players used to be paid back in the day.
I don't either.
Peanuts.
Well,
I'm
speaking
not
of
that big of a fan.
Okay.
speaking of pay, Walter Matthau was only paid $750,000, while Tatum O'Neal was paid $350,000.
And Tatum O'Neal was Amanda, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But he also had 8% of the net profits.
Ah.
Yeah. So I bet you she made out bigger on the deal.
So yeah, Walter Matthau, he was just a flat fee,
Oh, okay.
but Tatum O'Neal was paid $350
Plus 8%.
plus 8% of the net profits.
Yeah.
I was like, dang.
Did she get any of the merchandising, though? No.
The merchandising.
The other thing, I didn't realize it until now, kind of looking through some trivia stuff, is the guy who played the coach for the Yankees. His name was Vic Morrow, the actor.
Yes.
Vic Morrow. I didn't realize that he was the guy who died in 1982 on the set of the Twilight Zone movie in that helicopter accident.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize that was him.
Not me either. That's nuts.
He was
Yeah.
the one who got
What year was that?
1982.
82?
Wow. Crazy.
So, budget-wise, where are we at?
Well, I don't actually have a budget.
Jesus, another mafia film from Kyle.
Well, it's it's the 70s. They probably didn't keep track of that crap. They're like, just throw money at it.
Yeah, the
See what
IRS won't
happens."
know.
Listen, so what I'm thinking
We
is...
gotta hide our money some. I don't want to wind up like Capone, eh?
What I'm thinking is, I love baseball. Okay, I want a team with the Yankees, and I want another team with the Bears. Sir, the Bears are a football team. Yeah, I don't care. Okay, I'm gonna put my money, and I want children, lots of children. I like children. Whoa,
Whoa,
Christ!
okay.
Speaking of children, Walter Matthau's kid was in the movie.
Was he?
Yeah,
Yes.
he played in the Athletics. He was one of the actors in the athletic team.
Oh, that's
Oh,
interesting.
nice.
Huh.
And didn't he actually bat? Like, it was like one of the kids that actually
Yeah,
went up to
yeah, I
bat.
had a close up on him.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet Walter Matthau was so proud in his kind of way.
So why don't you have
Turner and
any?
Hooch.
I just don't have it.
Just don't have the budget.
Yeah, it's just not on IMDb. It's not. I need to probably find a different website.
So in that case, I'm gonna guess money. Money
Yes.
was involved.
It was dollars.
It was more than 750,000 because that's what Walter
it was.
Matthau
It was
got.
probably between 1 and $1 trillion.
Okay, so box office.
Yeah. Okay.
we're
So yeah, box office or gross USA. I don't have box office either.
Okay.
So how much does this movie make?
I'm gonna say 30 million.
Okay.
It's not a bad guess. I'll say 25 million. I'll go a little lower.
I'm gonna go 20.
All right. John was closest. 32,211,000.
Wow, almost on the dot.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Rotten Tomato scores then.
Okay.
All right. So let's do audience first.
Audience.
I have to abstain. Like,
Oh, you
looked?
Yeah.
You
looked.
No, I didn't
Cheater.
look. I accidentally saw it. I'm scrolling through, and it's like, oh, hell.
There it is.
You're like a
Got it.
drunk who goes out in the middle of Little League games and finds ringers to play on his team.
I am going to walk
You
over
mean
there to that
lady?
mound and slap you.
Yeah.
You mean like ladybirds
You remind me of my
or
dad.
ladybugs?
Ladybugs. I was going to bring that up, by the way, for other awkward coach-player relationships. Yeah, that's a really weird one between Jonathan Brandis and Rodney Dangerfield. I just want to put your son in a dress. I'm like, whoa, what?
Dang.
I put your son in a dress and had him play with me. What? That's what he says. He says it in the movie a couple times. Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. So audience first on Rotten Tomatoes.
Audience first. I'm gonna go 77%.
Goddamn. I'm going to go 75 because I was right there at 77. So I'm going to go 75%.
80%.
Oh,
wow.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, so
Okay.
slightly higher.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about critic?
All right. So critics.
I'm staying at 75.
I'm actually gonna go a little lower. Well, no. All right. I'm gonna go 80.
What'd you say? 75?
75.
It's 97.
Wow.
Jesus.
Critics really like this movie.
Yeah, they did.
I'm very surprised.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, Ebert gave it 3 stars.
Yeah.
3 out of 4.
So 75%.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Yeah, you agree with Ebert.
There you go.
75%.
Yeah.
then let's see if we all agree with Ebert and go ahead and go through
Well,
our scores here.
Yeah. All right.
Yours?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna give this movie a 7.1.
7.1.
Okay.
Do you have any reasons why?
No, I mean, we pretty much talked all about it. I mean, I really did like this movie. I think I attribute my score mainly to Walter Matthau. I'm a really big Walter Matthau fan, and that's one of the reasons why I picked this movie. So it's just basically off of him.
Mm.
So yeah, I liked it.
John?
Roger Ebert. I'm gonna say one of Roger Ebert's quotes here. He says, Michael Ritchie's The Bad News Bears is intended as a comedy, and there are, to be sure, a lot of laughs in it, but it's something more, something deeper than what it first appears to be. It's an unblinking, scathing look at competition in American society, and because the competitors in this case are little leaguers, the movie has passages that are very disturbing. So kind of what we've been talking about, you know. Myself, my thoughts, it's an enjoyable movie to watch as an adult. I would not watch this with young kids. I just wouldn't do it. And like I said before, I don't think it would get a PG rating from the MPAA today.
No.
Whether it might even not, it probably might even not even be rated at
It would probably be
With the
rated
content.
PG-13 maybe.
yeah.
I think
13?
I think
Yeah.
PG-13. Yeah. I think it'd get a PG-13
Okay.
because there's no real cussing in it per se. I mean, like there's a little bit, but not crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, you got a couple scenes where like the dad's hitting them people around and stuff, but nothing,
Yeah, I
no
don't
blood, no gore.
I would just say based on the racial terms
Yes.
used several times and the
Yeah.
underage drinking at the end and the child
Yeah.
abuse.
I don't think there's any F-bombs.
When you no, I don't think there is either. But when you couple all that together, it might warrant. It
That's
might.
the 70s.
Well, yeah, get away with it. No
Yeah,
seatbelts.
exactly.
you know.
Jesus, 13 kids in a convertible.
Yeah, why not?
Drinking while driving.
Exactly.
Jesus.
I do like too how this film is pretty raw in my view. You don't see the slow motion winning home run and
Yeah.
the you don't have that feel good heartwarming like the filmmakers made you feel that way type thing. I think it's an unvarnished look at kids and adults in Little League, and a lot of the themes are still relevant today. But based on that and based on the filmmaking, I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay, so a 7.5 for John. I actually think I'm right there with you guys. I like this movie. I'm going to give it a 7.5 as well. That's what I was already planning on giving it. And I think the couple scenes that we talked about today, like the drama hard-hitting scenes, I totally forgot about the whole the dad slapping the kid on the mound. And it's just, I don't know, that's one of my favorite scenes. So
Nice.
and I do think it has rewatchability because I've seen this movie a few times now. Not a bunch, but probably 4 times now. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 as well.
Okay, well, in shocking fashion, I'm going to be the outlier.
You're gonna give it a 10, right? A 10?
No,
10.
we're not going to end the show on Bad News Bears.
Eddie loves Kyle's movies.
No,
Just let you know.
it's not that. It's the Breaking Bad effect. I just can't.
You
I
can't
can't relate to
So
anything.
you put all the movies that I pick personal.
No, I don't. There's a lot of movies I pick as personal too. The problem is that, like in this case, like I've never. Okay, let's go with the movie I did real fast. The Skin I Live In. I've never been
The psychopath.
well, that's not true. But I've never been a what's it called? Plastic surgeon whose daughter was raped and then who feels like I need to get some kind of revenge. The minute that I am in that, I will compare myself to Antonio
Yeah, but you
Banderas.
have a
How
daughter.
can you relate to
So
that?
no, you have a daughter. You have a kid that you can actually relate. It's like what
You're right.
ifs.
And-
You did a lot of what ifs in that movie,
and I would
to personally put it towards you.
act the way he would as much as I was able to. In this case, the problem I have is that Walter Matthau just has so few redeeming qualities that it's hard for me to like his character. Okay, I do think that he has a bit of a reprieve and a bit of redemption. Now that being said, I do like the actors. I do like John was saying, how it's a very raw look at Little League. I think that's done well, and I have seen this movie a ton. I've seen it a lot. I would probably give this a 4.8. And the biggest part of that for me is I don't think that it's aged 100% well, but I do like the themes and whatnot that you guys are talking about. I do think that those stand up pretty well. So that's probably where I would stand, is a 4.8. So like usual, I'm the outlier.
Well, with that, that means the Bad News Bears comes out to be a 6.7.
So still pretty damn high, yeah.
Nice.
So a decent score.
Yeah.
So now we need to go ahead and spin for who's going to be doing the next movie. So it's
Okay.
going to be between Eddie and I.
Here we go. Justin.
Told you.
Ah,
Oh,
crap.
it's like it was planned. Surprise. I'm just kidding. It's not planned.
All right.
Except
What's
Justin cheats.
the damn genre?
All right, here we go. War.
War.
I feel like we did Gone with the Wind. That's why. At the end of season 1.
Yeah.
That's why we did it. It felt like I was like, we feel like we just did a war movie, but I guess the other war movie we did was Patton, and that was like what, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I would not
Yeah, it
call
was a
Gone
while
with the
ago.
Wind a war movie.
I mean it's
It
during.
was just a story that was during the Civil War, but that's by beside the point.
Okay. So what do you got, Justin, for war?
Man, I got a couple choices. I think I'm gonna pick The Enemy at the Gates.
All right.
It was a movie from 2001. I've seen this a few times. I really enjoy watching it. It's got some great acting in it, and some great cinematography. It's about a Russian and a German sniper who play a game of cat and mouse during the Battle of Stalingrad. It's got Bob Hoskins in it.
So I say Jude Law, Bob Hoskins, Ron Perlman,
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris is in it. Yep. There's a few other people.
And Joseph Fiennes.
Thank you. That's the one I was trying to remember. I was like, I know it's a Fiennes person, but I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
I always get him and Ralph. I know which one is which, but the names, I always fuck the names
Which is
up.
pronounced Rafe, actually.
Oh, is it Rafe? I didn't know that.
Rafe Fiennes. Yeah. So the next movie that we're going to be reviewing is Enemy at the Gates from 2001. Make sure you go and check it out. You can go to reelgood.com. That's REEL good.com or justwatch.com. I think both of those are really good sites to check out what's streaming. Don't forget to go to our patreon.com/Screen Riot to sign up. We have different levels, and you can, if you go to the highest tier, which I think is like $10, or no, sorry, it's like $15 a month. That's what it is. You can listen to our Patreon only exclusive shows where we've just did
Christmas
National
Vacation.
Christmas Vacations and
Planes, Trains,
and
and
Automobiles. That's right.
Yep.
So we'll be picking one for this month at some point too, I assume.
Yeah.
Yep.
So definitely check that out, and then go to our website and all that stuff, which is linked in the show notes. So all the cool stuff is in the show notes, so I don't have to keep saying it every week. So cool. So all right, thanks for listening, and bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Later.